This session of Jackson County Board of Education is now called to order. As our custom, we will take a moment to reflect and pray for our school system, all the things that are happening this day and age, and all the heartache that we've had. We've lost an employee over the past few days to a car accident. I know the people in Stevenson, Bridgeport area are deeply saddened by that as well as myself. So please remember Ms. Bevel's family as you pray and as you reflect. So if you'll bow with me, please. Thank you. First on the agenda is to consider a motion to approve the agenda as it is presented.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Mr. Story moves to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Yes?
Yes.
Mr. Gann?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and the agenda is approved. Under general business, consider a motion for any corrections, additions, or deletions to the August the 24th and the September the 7th board minutes. I'll make a motion to approve those.
Second.
Mr. West seconds. Is there any discussion on those minutes? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gann?
Yes.
Myself is yes. Those minutes now stand approved. Consider a motion to approve the capital plan. So we have that capital plan there. Do we have a motion to approve the capital
I
plan?
move to approve the capital plan.
Okay, Mr. West makes a motion to approve that. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds. Is there any discussion about the capital plan? Is there any comments that need to be made about that? Mr. Deeks, do you have anything?
It's very similar to what we had last year. It's kind of backed up. There's a little bit different to it. With some buses and some maintenance trucks, but outside of that, it's pretty much the plan for the most part that we had last year moving forward.
And just to add to that, ever since I've been in the education business, the 5-year plan seems like it turns into the 15-year plan sometimes, and the 20-year plan. And plans like this are very fluid. Sometimes there's things that come up in a school that you don't expect, and it has to take priority. So if you have,
I asked for an ag shop at Skyline 7 years ago, so it's been on there a while.
hopefully it will come soon. I know, but we do have a lot of needs in our county. We have a lot of old buildings, and you have a lot of leaky roofs, and you got HVAC systems that go down as much as they're up, and it's like you're swimming upstream, in a heavy current. So we're going to do the best we can and accomplish as much as we can, but you can only go so far with a little bit of money, and Mr. Middleton, I think, will help paint a picture of that in a little bit. So
On the 5-year plan, we do things like $25,000, $30,000 without having to put it on these plans if we think it's necessary, don't we?
We do, and a lot of times things will come up in schools that we have to spend this capital outlay money on.
Right.
If a roof needs repaired, things along those lines, that's that same money that we're coming from.
full of balls in it.
We've-
Place like that.
We had a plan 6 years ago to put air conditioning in Bridgeport and Stevenson's old gyms. I reckon we're one of the few that don't have air conditioning. And we were promised that the last year Mr. Hardy was on there, and we didn't get it. And people keep asking me from Stevenson and Bridgeport when we're gonna get our old gyms air conditioned. So I'd like to ask that be put on the plan in the future.
We will definitely look at getting that.
It wouldn't cost, I don't think it would cost that much to do the two schools, and they're both the oldest gyms that we got now.
I think we've got a total of about 5 gyms that do not have air in them right
Yeah.
now. So it would be a little more costly when you add all 5 of them in there.
Well, ours are the two oldest, with some of them, it's hard to get fans working in them, the way they're shaped, and
So that's, and that's a good example of some of the needs and some of the wants that we have in the county. Definitely, we have something that come up that is just so pressing that you've gotta take care of those. And like I said, I mentioned, the floor at Bryant. You know, we didn't know that thing was gonna give way and have to be replaced, but it did, and it definitely had to take priority. So that's what we have to do sometimes. So we do have a motion and a second, and we've had some discussions. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, and that has been approved. Under item C, consider a motion to approve the bid for the Pisgah High School gym heat pump replacement.
I make that move.
Gant makes a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. West seconds that. Is there any discussion?
Is that the new gym or the old gym?
New gym,
That's the new gym?
yes,
How many years that been built?
97,
And the heat pumps already went out on it?
yes. About the rock thing now.
Any further questions about the heat pump? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes,
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant? And myself is a yes, and that has been approved. Consider a motion to approve the bid for the Woodville High School gymnasium. And we have that bid attached.
I move to approve the bid for the Woodville High School gym.
Mr. West makes a motion to approve that. Is there a second?
second,
Mr. Story seconds that. Is there any discussion?
That seems awful high on that gym. That's nearly $1 million just,
It came in at 805,
yeah.
was one bidder, we negotiated down to 745.
And we'd originally budgeted $750 for it, so we came in 5,000 under budget.
Right, 750.
What's so expensive? What's costing so much money about it? Do you know?
Your HVAC is probably your biggest expense. Redoing all that, looked at, when we spoke with engineers in there, the HVAC that's in it does not adequately dehumidify it. It's like, we have house HVAC units for a big gym, and it just won't work like that. And that's what causes the walls to, what they call it, it's salting the walls. It pulls the salt out of those blocks, because it's not humidifying it right. With the roof problems and the water getting in the walls, with all the HVAC, all the brickwork on the outside's gotta be worked on, new guttering,
I was reading the
HVAC, all that.
I was reading the bid. It said they were just gonna point it up though. Are they gonna tear it down, the brickwork?
Some of it will have to be tore out, some of it on the back. A lot of it's just gonna be repointed, but it has to be the top of it, you know, turn the water off of it and repointed. But there is one section back that might be took out.
Do you remember what we paid, for that on the floor? We had to do some,
It was 80,
80,000.
60.
It was a lot of money.
And they got new bleachers.
Yeah.
That was 80. The bleachers were 80.
Yeah.
The floor was, I don't remember what the redo the floor, maybe
Yeah.
15, 20.
I think they had to do some floor repair too because of water damage with that.
But it's getting water in the wall. We got a couple more gyms kinda like it, so we don't have to keep an eye on.
But that's because of the air conditioning that they put in it, the water
Yeah,
in
you
the
know, that
wall.
was those air conditioners, ones at Orange Sand and ones at Skyline, those three gyms are the same. Those air conditioners aren't made for what, those were community put in back, it's been several years. And that's not what they're made for. And it helps, and it doesn't dehumidify it like it should.
That's expensive, but I guess we gotta do it.
It is high. But
We appreciate it, Mr. Kirby. Thank you for the input. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or questions? Not, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and that motion is approved. E, consider a motion to approve the following overnight field trips, and would be okay to take those
Yeah.
three together?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a Stevenson Middle School going to Smokies in December. Pisgah Bay Club to attend Leadership Summit in Pigeon Forge, and Skyline FCCLA going to Montgomery.
I make a motion that we approve those trips.
Okay, Mr. Story makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and those trips have been approved. Under personnel actions, A, consider a motion to amend the family medical leave of Keisha Lyons, a teacher at Stevenson Middle School, with a leave beginning September the 1st and ending on October the 20th. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. West seconds that. Any discussion? We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Yes?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, and that motion carries. Under transfers, consider a motion to transfer Amanda Crawford from pre-K aide at Dutton School to a 50% teacher at Bridgeport Elementary School, effective 9/14/17.
I make the motion we approve that transfer.
Mr. Story makes a motion to transfer Amanda Crawford. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds that. Is there any discussion? You don't move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, the motion carries. Excuse me. Consider a motion for the involuntary transfer of Sam Houston to teacher at Stevenson Middle School effective 9/14/17. We have a motion.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Dr. Guess makes motion. Mr. Story seconds. Is there any discussion?
What does it mean by involuntary transfer?
Means he did not put in for the job.
So can we show in the minutes that this is a recommendation of the superintendent for involuntary transfer?
That's what that states when
Okay.
it says involuntary.
Okay. Well, it kinda looks like the board's transferring him when he don't want to. It's the superintendent.
Mr. Dukes is making the motion,
Okay.
and he is gonna be in field, so he's gonna be teaching some
Okay.
history classes there, so we did address that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and that motion carries. Item C, consider a motion to transfer J.C. McCutcheon from 50% teacher at Hollywood to 50% teacher at Hollywood, 50% countywide aide, effective 9/14/17.
I'll make that move.
Mr. Gant makes a motion to transfer. I'll second that. Is there any discussion? I think Mr. McCutcheon has been on our agenda more than anybody I've ever seen in my life. He's
Last 3 times in a row, for sure.
He has set a record. Any discussion other than, I guess, I don't know what you call that, but,
Comment.
yeah, his congratulatory statement, I guess. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, and I will say that J.C.'s a good guy. He should have done a good job there. Consider a motion to transfer Stephanie Laney from a countywide instructional aide to a teacher at Stevenson Middle School effective 9/14/17.
I make that move.
Mr. West makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Yes?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, and that motion carries. Consider a motion to transfer Samantha Finch from a countywide instructional aide to a 50% teacher at Section High School effective 9/14/17.
I make that move.
Mr. West makes a motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Move to vote, Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, and that motion carries. Under employee, consider a motion to employ Tammy Bass as a 50% teacher at Woodville School effective 9/14/17.
I'll make the motion.
that we
Okay.
employ Tammy Bass.
Mr. Gant makes a motion, and Mr. Story seconds that. Is there any discussion? Ms. Tammy Bass was a longtime teacher at Pisgah and just retired this spring. And we got the green light to move with that, right, Mr. Dukes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other discussion? Move up, Mr. West,
Yes.
Mr. Story,
Yes.
Dr. Guess,
Yes.
Mr. Gant,
Yes.
myself is a yes, and that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Marley Barkley as an elementary teacher at Woodville effective 9/14/17.
I make that motion.
Mr. West makes a motion, is there a second? I'll second that. Is there any discussion?
Was this a pink slip?
This was a pink slip, yes.
Okay.
It was done last year, I think.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, and that motion carries. C, consider a motion to employ Robert Gibson as a teacher at Woodville effective 9/14/17.
I'd like to ask the question where Mr. Gibson is from.
Okay, well, let's get a motion in a second, and we'll have discussion. I'll make a motion to accept that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. West, now we have some discussion, so, Mr. Darwin.
Mr. Darwin?
What was the question, Mr. Story? I didn't hear.
Where is this, where did the gentleman teach last year?
The gentleman, he's 30 years employed in Dade County School System, retired in the spring from Dade County.
Mr. Darwin, what would he teach?
He'll be teaching physical education.
Will he also coach?
Yes,
At
sir.
some point?
Yes, sir, he will be coaching. The position that Miss Daniel left, it was a combination English, health, PE, a little bit, it's hard to find an English, health, PE teacher.
Does he live in-
Half-time position.
Does he
Yes, sir.
live in Tennessee?
No, sir, he lives up on Sand Mountain. He lives on Sand Mountain.
Did we have any other local people that applied for that job?
I'm sure there was. There were some, yes.
We didn't get a chance to view the package on that, so I didn't know.
Okay.
Did you interview anybody from any local people?
Yes.
And this, Mr. Gibson, is your recommendation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any further questions? We have a motion and a second, and had a discussion, and we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
No.
Mr. Story votes no. Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
No.
Mr. Gant votes no. Myself, yes. So motion carries. Under item D, consider a motion to employ Heather Johnson as a teacher at Paint Rock Valley High School effective 9/14/17.
I moved to employ Heather Johnson, teacher at Paint Rock Valley.
Mr. West makes a motion to approve Heather Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, motion carries. Under item A, under coaching, consider a motion to accept the resignation of Chance McCarver as a coach of Skyline JV girls basketball.
I thought we did that last week. What was the motion on
It
him?
was a motion to employ as a, I think it was JV girls basketball.
No, it was this job. It was this job. Same job. Resigning from that.
We accepted his employment as that last time.
We
We
did.
accepted his employment the last time, now we're accepting his resignation.
We get somebody
Yeah.
else to come.
So,
Okay, okay. All right. Chance is trying to catch Jesse McCutcheon.
I move we accept item A.
Okay, Mr. Story votes to accept the resignation. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds that. Any discussion? Mr. West,
Yes.
Mr. Story,
Yes,
Dr. Guess,
Yes.
Mr. Gant,
Yes.
and myself, I abstain. So, 4 yes, 1 abstain, motion passes. B, consider a motion to approve Hope Broussard as a coach at Skyline, for Skyline Junior High girls basketball. Make a motion to approve the recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds that. Is there any discussion? Move to vote, Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
yes,
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, and that motion carries. And we're at the point in our meeting, we're gonna ask Mr. Middleton to come up and begin our second public budget hearing. Mr. Middleton, you have the floor, sir.
Do we have any questions, any of those that came here at our meeting, last week? Are there any questions, anybody have before we get into this second presentation? I'll try to make it a little different, try to bring out, some of the issues that we face. And actually, it's, as you heard in our discussion about our buildings, we have unlimited needs in our buildings. They could always use a little bit more of this or that, a roof. But, John is very judicious in looking around and seeing what absolutely has to be done. And I tell him that if anything's gonna be hurt by inattention, that we immediately have to jump over our capital plan and attack that problem before it becomes a bigger problem. And that's kind of where we're at. But we have a lot of nice, charming buildings. I really do enjoy getting out and seeing our buildings. They might not be brand new, but I like our facilities, a lot of them. And we're gonna try to keep them going as long as we can.
Mr. Middleton,
Yes, sir.
before you get started on
Yep.
page 62, can you explain some of that on page 62 to us?
Okay.
On page 62.
Let me get to that.
At the bottom of the page where it says certified support and non-certified support, what's the difference in certified support and non-certified support?
Okay, well, being a former teacher, you know about certified. They basically have a teaching certificate, and support is a broad category. It includes not only your secretaries, includes all your maintenance workers, includes all of your aides. Well, they could be instructional aides, though, but it includes a lot of your aides. It includes any of those that don't have a classroom. If they're certified support, they have a teaching certificate, but they aren't assigned a classroom. And they're there they could be there for student support. They could be there for teacher support, as in they're like teaching coaches or teaching managers. But if they're non-certified support, that would be more of the janitors. It could be the school secretaries, the non-instructional aides that don't have a teaching certificate. I'm considered, some places I'm considered non-certified support. Some places I'm considered administration. I'm kind of a hybrid of the two, but I don't have a teaching certificate. So I'm not considered certified and I am in a support role, so you could lump me in that sometimes. You know, it depends on the report. Anyway,
Another question I got
Yes,
here.
sir.
Under local here, it says we've got 51 units that's paid by local funds. That's 51 employees.
that are paid by system-wide that are support,
No, it says total, that's teachers,
oh, okay.
counselors, administrators, and all, 51 of them.
Yes, because we have, and generally, those are paid, we've got some pretty hefty, local supports that have been in place, like TVA, that's used to pay those. We also have Medicaid, which is another big area that's become bigger and bigger, that we are able to pay local units out of that. So there's, you know, and then we don't really have the property taxes, but we do have some sales taxes. So basically, that's what you're paying. You're paying it out of TVA, out of Medicaid, and out of sales taxes.
But these are people that we didn't earn, the state's not paying their way, we're paying it, right?
Right.
And
Now-
the systems you have been in, is that high for a system like us, or is that about normal?
That's about normal, actually, because you have, I mean, but there are maybe a few more because of the TVA. You take away the TVA, and we're back to a normal, what I'd call the systems. TVA has made it so that we could do a little bit more in the local area, and we can keep all of our little small schools. That's what you have. Whenever you have a lot of small schools, you have to have probably a little bit more than normal amount of local, because you just, you know, you don't have any economies of scale. Once you get into the 500, 600, 800 student schools, you've got economies of scale where it works out, where you don't, you know, you have enough positions there to have a true program. The smaller, you know, like if the state funds, and we've seen here, this, let me go back up to this slide I was going to show. If we continue losing these units, we lost 4, almost 5 units, over 4.5 units. If we continue to lose those, it gets harder and harder to figure out where you can take a unit. And these poor principals sitting there are pulling their hair out because you can only go so small in your staff. And so it makes it harder and harder to, you know, someone that's 800 school, 800 student school going down to 750, he's got a lot of options. But someone who's a 200 student school going down to 180 and he has to lose a unit, the options aren't there, you know. So it really tightens it down into a very difficult area. Now what we've had is we've had TVA allowing this to go on. People in other systems have had to make these hard decisions years ago, and they never were made here. They never had to be made here. But now, if TVA starts going away, like people say, it's going to make it to where we really do have to make hard decisions on what to do about it. And I don't know what those decisions are going to be, but they're going to be tough. And we're going to have to lose those local units, a third of them. And where are they going to come from?
Well, looking at these local units, there's 51. Turn to the next page, 30 of those it says is in the central office.
No, that means that they're county-wide.
Well, countywide, would
That means that they don't have a particular school that they work in. They work in multiple schools. They're not tied to a particular school. So they might work in the northern part of the county between 3 different schools. Or they work in every school. You know, they bounce around from school to school. We got people like that don't have a normal place that they go to work. You know, a normal office that they go to that place every time. So these are county-wide employees. These aren't central office employees. Now, there are some central office employees.
But it says there's 8.75 administrators. We got that many administrators bouncing around over the county?
Well, I mean, no, most of those are gonna be central office, but some of them aren't. And, you know, I'd have to give you a list of that, you know.
I came by today to ask that and you wasn't in. But it also says we've got 5.57 teaching units in the central office.
Where they would be in a support role. You know.
Who are,
You know, I would have to give you that, you know, I can print out that list, you know, so.
a question I got here, if we got teachers and they're making $50,000 or $60,000, are they in support roles that a secretary could do at $30,000, or do they have to be teachers?
Well,
I think the gifted teacher would be one of those that would be countywide.
Well, now, we've got
area, right?
federal and state paid by the federal and state. I'd assume they.
well, not necessarily. I mean, like the, even the, we got the head nurse up here. I'm not exactly sure where her funding is, but as far as the state funding for nurses, it's not near enough to cover all of our nurses. You know, so we have to, spend a certain amount of local funds to be able to have nurses in most of our schools.
One is from local funds.
Well, there is some,
Okay, so that covers 4.
yeah.
And we got, how many? 16.
See, so.
So is that some of your non-certified, the
Support.
nurses? It's
Right, but
non-certified
they
support.
wouldn't necessarily be in the county-wide area. They could be stationed at a school, or a lot of them are, but some of them are, like, you know, our head nurse. You know, not assigned to a school. So, I mean, the thing is, that's what we've got to be creative, and I appreciate the questions, because we've got to look at the hard questions, and that's what, Mr. Dukes, you know, looks at every day. How can we, and I appreciate y'all working together to get the units placed tonight, because we needed to get those, some of those decisions made. And we're gonna have to really be together and figure out if this continues to go down in our funding, you know, how we're gonna be able to keep this going. And it may be some of these countywide people, you know, might have to go back out to a school, you know, and those type decisions will have to be made. So, but,
It just looks to me like before we start talking about consolidating schools, which one person mentioned last week, affecting the students, we ought to start looking at some of these local funded units. I know that's not popular either, but you know what I'm saying.
well, I mean, you know, and, you know, we've got, the funds, you know, or have had the funds to have these, but a lot of these people, you know, just don't get a false picture that these are central office people that this is necessarily talking about. It's a lot more than that. It's just anybody that's an employee that's not assigned to a particular school, and there's a bunch of those. We got whole departments. We got our tech department. We've got our, you know, maintenance department.
But the tech department is funded out of local school money, out of local school units,
Well,
right?
and part of it is, it's really hard. The state is supposed to, and I didn't mean to get into all this discussion, but we're about to end it. The state is supposed to fund all of our support units through other current expense. And OCI, or OCE, they have failed to do that. They do not fully fund our support units like they used to. They slowly, gradually, ever since 2007, they knocked it way down, and they tried to come up a little bit, but they do not fully support us the way it used to be, 100% funding. Now it's more at the 80% funding like they do our transportation. And so we have to fund a certain amount of that support locally that we used to not have to do 10 years ago. So that's part of the issue too.
So,
Yes.
excuse me,
Yes.
so about 20% of our transportation budget is local money?
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's at least that much. Which is significant, because that's a big budget. But we're all gonna have to get our heads together and figure these things out. If this continues, now I'm hoping that all of a sudden something's gonna be announced and there's gonna be hard to find a house in the county, and all of them will be taken up and kids are gonna be flowing in here, and that's what the hope is. And we gotta be ready for that, because that could happen. But we also got to be ready for, to hunker down. Things like transportation fleet renewal. You see here that the state gives us $6,344 a bus. Over 10 years, they'll fund us $63,000 for a bus. What's a bus cost, John? $75. Okay. So every time we buy a bus, we're in the hole automatically by, $12,000 or whatever. And I've seen it where buses were more than that. That's a big loans bus. If we have a special needs bus,
About 85 there, usually.
okay, so we're gonna, so that's part of the issue too. That, so we don't wanna just jump out there as soon as the 10 years are over and say, hey, we gotta buy a bus because we're gonna be off fleet renewal. If we got a bus that's running, and even if it's got some miles on it, it's running, we get 2 more years out of it, we're money ahead to do that, as long as the bus is good and safe, and it's not costing us more than, a couple $1,000s a year, in maintenance. But it, so we've got $1.5 million, $1.5 million in bus debt. It's just sitting out there from a couple years ago. We're gonna be working hard. That's another reason we gotta be so careful with our capital funds, because we need to use some of that to get out from under that interest that's accruing every month on that. So that's other challenges that we have. So we just, we're gonna be fine, but we just got to be careful and we got to be smart going forward. This is a culprit, and I'm gonna, I've kind of harped on this. I'm gonna end with this unless somebody just has some questions. This is, it doesn't seem like it's much, 4.5 units, doesn't seem like much, but it cuts out not only foundation program, almost $500,000, but it cuts our nurses, our transportation actually went down, and I really don't even understand exactly why I don't think our routes went down, but they cut us there. It all adds up, and, you know, so we're gonna have almost $250,000 million in less funding in just the state area. Hopefully, the local funds are gonna continue to hold up. And they have to this point, but it's very important that they do hold up while we absorb that. But we have worked very hard, even though we've got this significant reduction in these funds. This is what our budget, and I'll end it here. This is what I'm predicting, is that we're budgeting $380,000 decrease in our fund balance this next year. Now, that's what we have to show officially. One thing that can help us, and we really need any principals here, or any people in here, please hear me on this. C&P Child Nutrition Program has helped us tremendously this past year in allowing us to not pass through $300,000 to them this past year. And Jennifer has been very smart in running our program, making sure the funds are there. We've got to make sure everybody participates in child nutrition as much as possible. Every meal, you know, even parent meals, any way that, you know, participation in breakfast, participation in the lunch, in these other, these after school things that they have in summer programs. We need to support these things as much as we can, because that allows us, if they make their money and have certain balances in the bank, they say, okay, you don't have to send over all the money that we send to you to pay for child nutrition benefits and raises. And and we were able to, and if we can do that again this next year, that $380,000 deficit turns into an $80,000 deficit. So we're hoping we can do that again this coming year. That's a possibility. But if the funds aren't there, we're not going to be able to do it. So please, please, please support the child nutrition programs. The capital funds, we're showing that we will have a healthy balance in that. But if we do go ahead and try to get out from under that bus loan, like if we try to go ahead and get out from that $1.5 million bus loan, that's going to take some of those funds down that we're projecting to have. But I would like to get out from under that if we can, so that we can save that interest. But really, if you look at the funds that, our funds that we really have discretion over, is the general fund. And I'm predicting that we'll end the year, unless we're able to get this $300,000 from child nutrition. If we are able to get this $300,000 from child nutrition, we might be able to hold on to our 1 month operating for 1 more year. I'm predicting that we're going to end the year with 1 month operating and make us legal. And then I'm predicting we have a possibility, if some things go the right way, that we can hold on to it for another year. But every year that we go down in students, the challenges increase. And, so we need to get all our relatives to move into Jackson County and get enrolled, especially those that are Catholic, guys. We just need a bunch of families in here, big families. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts, suggestions?
I got a question.
Yes,
How are the teacher units determined?
it's basically on the students, how many students. And also, another factor that comes in is the size of the school. You get bonuses, like we got a couple of schools that are in the 460, 480 range. When they go over 500, they qualify for additional units, assistant principals, librarians, you get bonuses for hitting certain benchmarks. And 500 is one of the benchmarks that we're really hoping we can achieve. It's some of our schools that are right under that. But it's basically based on the student population.
I did some comparison with last year's,
Yes,
and we had some that lost students but gained teachers.
right. Now, there was a change in divisors on what grade levels.
Middle grade.
Okay, so the middle schools would potentially have benefited, and even if they lost students, the divisors changed, then they could potentially lose students and still.
She gained students and lost teachers.
Well,
Did Bridgeport Elementary?
Yeah.
Well, we actually
Lo-
stayed
lost,
the same.
Lost a half a teacher, according to the paperwork.
well, the thing is,
Yeah.
there could be a,
Teaching units are for last year's students, they're not for this
Yeah, it
year's.
was based
Right.
on, it was based on
Right.
our units at this time last year. So third.
Brid-
Right.
Bridgeport Middle lost 21 students.
now.
They were over last year. They had more units than they were supposed to have last year.
And they gained three units this year.
But they were over.
And the time, there is a timing issue where they really, it really doesn't matter what's happened now. It's more what happened 2 years ago versus what happened 1 year ago.
So
It's
the
a
teacher
year
units are
delay.
based on
A year
the
delay
enrollment last year.
compared to 2 years ago.
It's 20 days after Labor Day.
For what
Labor
year?
Day,
For what
20
year?
days, and I think it's our
For
student,
last year?
it's our enrollment and our, attendance.
For last
For
year.
last year compared to the year, 2 years ago.
So next year, Bridgeport Elementary,
She's gaining.
no, they got 124. They had 145 last year.
No, next year's will be based on what's happening now, 20 days after Labor Day right now. Right now.
Bridgeport Middle, Bridgeport Middle.
Yeah, Bridgeport Middle.
Bridgeport Middle,
now,
not elementary.
We have 19 more.
And also, that was just a picture in time to, the official 20-day reports are gonna come out. Is it a 20-day or 40-day?
20 day.
Okay, so they're gonna have an official 20-day, we grabbed a particular day just off of SDI to plug in, so there could be some
Well, I don't want you to
differences
think your work goes not looked at,
there.
so I like to.
Hey, I
I
appreciate
like to look at
that.
it and compare
I
it.
appreciate that, and that's what we gotta put all our heads together. We gotta be creative, and, I do definitely appreciate that. Any other thoughts or questions? We're gonna make it, but we just gotta be careful, and we gotta keep our eyes, I like to express it, Superintendent says, keep your head on a swivel, you gotta keep looking around, kind of be aware of all what's going on, so.
Thank you, Mr. Middleton. Hopefully, like Mr. Middleton said, that brighter days economically are ahead of Jackson County. We keep hoping and looking for clover and all that good stuff. So we anticipate, we hope, and I think to be honest, we're close. We're close to things turning around in Jackson County. I mean, this is, I think people are starting to take notice of Jackson County and the people that we have here, so, we just need a break. We just need a break, and I think good things will happen, and we can get back to those TVA heydays.
Yes.
So, we come to the portion in our meeting where we have announcements, and, on our agenda, we have Bridgeport Elementary School, their pre-K information, and thank you, so, Mr. Hughes, do you wanna?
Ms. Merritt, you wanna come up and introduce them and talk about it?
Before they do that, I failed to get this, I guess. I don't know exactly how we need to do this, but you actually need to approve this.
Yes, the budget needs to be voted on and approved. That's
Okay,
correct.
so before we do yours, Mr. Mayor, we have had our second hearing, and Mr. Millen has provided information, so we have the capital plan before us, and do we have a motion that's come, I guess we have a motion to approve that capital plan. The budget, I'm sorry.
I move we approve the budget.
All right, Dr. Guest makes a motion to approve the budget.
Second.
Mr. Story seconds that. Any discussion on approving that budget? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and that budget has been approved. So, now, thank you, Jeff.
Do y'all wanna do CD?
Yeah, go ahead.
We've got a video.
We thought we were gonna be first and not last, we got one that's out. But they have done so good sitting here and proud of them.
Aren't they pretty?
'Cause I met Austin, right, Austin?
Alex.
Alex, very good boy.
We're really excited to have a pre-K this year. We got our after-school back last year. One thing that we felt like it was hurting Bridgeport Elementary is that we didn't have those two programs because we seem to be losing students to our sister school down the road that had both of them. And so we are very proud that we have our after-school program back and have a pre-K now. We actually have, we had 19, I think, two have not actually come yet, but more students this year in addition to the 16 that we have in pre-K. So we have about 38, 36 more students in our building this year than we had last year. We're really excited to have this pre-K, and we wanted to come and express our appreciation to Ms. Lust for working on the grant and Mr. Guppy for considering Bridgeport Elementary and letting us have it, and the board for your support.
Is there volume on this?
That's why I'm making sure.
We got at least 6 new kids because of this program, I know. Yeah.
We had lost students actually to Stevenson Elementary
Right.
because they had the pre-K and we did not.
We got some of ours back.
And it helps because they can have the kids there while their older siblings are in kindergarten or 4th grade. And so they don't have to worry about trying to find how to remember where to take.
All of your pre-K, are they local?
Yes, sir.
All of them from Bridgeport?
All of ours are from Bridgeport.
Yeah.
Another thing, we had lost the Head Start there at Bridgeport last year, and so a lot of the kids that we have in kindergarten this year did not have pre-K. And you can tell a difference when they don't have some school because, you know, kindergarten is not like it used to be. It was playing a lot like pre-K is now, but now our kindergartners are expected to be reading by Christmas time, so this pre-K really helps to give them a foundation.
Okay, here we go. You won't even hear it, but good.
Is it loud enough?
and for Stephanie and Mr. Guppy. And it says, thank you for helping us grow. Walk right up here. Go take it down, Brenda. Come on out.
That's a hard day to pre-K.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Nathaniel, can you give Mr.
How are you?
Story one? Look here, Alex, here's your buddy.
Thank you.
Here.
She's had a little bit of time adjusting. She has finally adjusted. Maybe you could talk to her.
Yes, more.
It's kind of nice, I like pizza.
Huh?
We play a lot and sleep a lot.
Yeah, I don't think they get to do that now.
We don't sleep much. Turn that on.
Turn it on. All you gotta do is turn it on.
Get the board meeting.
Just to have all those little ones lined up,
Let me see, I don't
sitting
know.
there at breakfast, without milk on the table, or milk in their hair, or cereal.
AKA
That's
fixing
the-
everything for them.
Okay.
Now, here's the board meeting, now,
So that's, y'all done a lot of teaching if y'all been able to do that this early.
Our little pre-K is very well behaved. They've actually seem to
Obviously.
be better adjusted than some of our kindergarten kids.
And it will pay huge dividends as they grow older.
Did you have any that applied that didn't get in?
We actually had 19 to apply, and we were able to take 16, so we have 3 on our waiting list.
Good deal. Good deal.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming. And I like seeing y'all superstars on the screen. That's one thing that we do, the people here at the central office, the principals, that's what it's all about. All the yeah, this, that, and the other, that's what it's all about. That's why we're in this business.
Okay. I think, as far as I know, we'll have our regular scheduled board meeting, just have one scheduled for let's see, we're September, so in October, unless something comes up.
October 19th will be the 31st.
October the 19th at 4:30. October 19th at 4:30. Anything else, any other announcements?
Career Expo, October 17th at the fairgrounds.
The CEO Expo that Impact Learning Center puts on at the fairgrounds will be on
When you say it was?
October the 17th.
October 17th, and that's where we get all the night crews in Jackson County and Scottsboro City to come through and look at different careers, and a lot of those in the tech field, so
What
it opens a
time?
lot of eyes.
What time's that start? It starts
It'll
at
be-
8 o'clock.
Yes, yeah, it'll probably be 8:30 before kids get there, I would say. So they'll do about half the students in the morning and half in the evening, but there'll be county school students there all day long. So,
You want to remind them of the art classes that's coming up?
Beth, could you tell them a little bit about that? Hate to put you on the
Yes,
spot.
sir. We have a lady from here in Scottsboro that I was talking to, and she said she would like to do something to give back. And she's an artist in Huntsville, and she has volunteered to teach art classes. We started working on this in the spring. We contacted counselors at the high schools to have them recommend people who had artistic ability, but maybe not have the classes. So these kids are going to, with the permission of their parents, Mr. Dukes has allowed us, they will ride the Monday afternoon tech school buses. They'll start October 2nd, every other Monday for the afternoon. Miss Lucy Thomas and some other friends of hers from Huntsville will be coming to teach art classes. They're gonna do some 3D stuff, some sculpture, some oil paintings. They'll come and teach these classes to our students. It is of no cost to us. She's volunteering, and it's just an opportunity for our children that might not have had the opportunity before.
She came and met with us back during the spring, I believe, so it's been kind of a planning process through the summer, and I saw her at Art Sunday the other day, and she's very excited about it. She was talking about her friends that are artists in Huntsville that are well respected and what they do and how they've volunteered to jump in and help out.
She's wanting to donate pieces of art to all of our schools as well.
Anything else that needs to come as an announcement to the board? Okay. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion with adjourn.
Mr. Storer makes a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Meeting adjourned. Thank you for coming.